Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a real question. Have you ever felt that sudden shift? One day she's all about you, calling you, texting you, laughing at your jokes, telling you every little detail of her day, and the next, silence. Short replies. Cold energy. It's like overnight you went from her favorite person to just another contact in her phone. Now I know what you're thinking. What did I do wrong? Did I say something? Did I forget something? Is she talking to somebody else? And that's the exact moment most men mess everything up. They panic. They chase. They blow up her phone, start sending long paragraphs begging for attention. And brother, let me tell you, that only makes her run further. See, the problem isn't the distance itself. The problem is how you handle it. When a woman distances herself, that is not your cue to lose control. That's your test. That moment is like life handing you a mirror and asking, are you strong enough to handle this like a grown man, or are you going to crumble like a little boy? If you don't know what to do, you can lose her forever. But if you understand how to handle this moment the right way, you'll either pull her closer or make space for something even better to enter your life. So don't touch that dial, because in this talk, I'm about to hand you the real answer, the grown man's way to handle distance, so that when it shows up, you won't panic, you won't beg, and you sure won't lose your dignity. You'll handle it the way a real man should. Let's get started. When she distances herself from you, it's easy to slip into panic mode. Most men, when they feel that the space between them and a woman is widening, they immediately jump to conclusions. They think they've messed up. They think they did something wrong, or worse, they think she's losing interest. And that fear, it's real. The instinct to want to fix it as fast as possible is hard to ignore. But here's the catch: running after her, constantly texting or calling her, and trying to get her to engage with you the way she used to will actually push her away even more. That's not the way to solve the problem. So, what's the key here? What should you do when you feel that shift, that distance growing between you? First, you need to stop panicking. You have to remember this simple truth. Women are emotional creatures, and emotions ebb and flow. There will be times when she wants her space, and that's okay. She might be going through something in her life that she's not ready to share with you yet. Or maybe she just needs a break. That doesn't mean she's done with you. It just means you have to give her space to breathe. But here's the catch. It's how you handle that space that determines whether she comes back or not. The first thing you need to do is stop trying to control the situation. When she distances herself, do not chase her. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but trust me on this. The more you chase, the more you push her away. And I know this might sting, but if she's pulling away, it's probably because she feels that you're putting too much pressure on her. So, what should you do instead? You need to take a step back and focus on yourself. When you stop trying to fix things and focus on improving yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, you will become more attractive to her. Women are drawn to men who are strong, self-sufficient, and emotionally stable. When you let her breathe and focus on your own growth, it gives her the space to miss you. It also shows her that you're not dependent on her for your happiness. This is where the real magic happens. When you start investing time in yourself, whether that's hitting the gym, diving into your work, then the government from pursuing a hobby you're passionate about, you're sending a powerful message to her. You're telling her that your value doesn't come from her approval. And here's what happens when you do that. Then women love of a man who values himself, When you give her the space she needs, and at the same time, show her you're perfectly fine on your own, she starts to feel something that she might not have felt before. Respect. It's important to note, though, that this doesn't mean you completely ignore her. You don't want to cut her off or act like she doesn't matter. Instead, you want to show that you respect her space, but you're also not afraid to live your life. You're the type of man who can be successful, fulfilled, and happy without needing her to complete you. When you handle the distance this way, you send a message that you're in control of your emotions. You're not desperate or needy. You're someone who understands the value of balance in a relationship, that sometimes a little bit of space allows the bond to grow stronger, not weaker. This is the key control over your own emotions. When you control yourself, you control the dynamic in the relationship. Then the women are not looking for a man who needs them to feel complete. They are looking for a partner who complements them. If you don't give in to the panic when she pulls away, you stand out. You become the man who is secure in himself, and that's incredibly attractive. The truth is, the way you handle this situation will either make or break your relationship. When she distances herself, the worst thing you can do is beg for her attention or constantly try to convince her of your worth. But when you take the right approach, by respecting her space, focusing on your own growth, and showing her that you can thrive without her, you're creating a foundation for a deeper, more meaningful connection. This is how you keep her interested, keep her coming back, and most importantly, how you maintain your own dignity. Remember, the key is not to panic or chase. The key is to give her space and give yourself the time to become the best version of you. When you do that, you'll be surprised by the results. You won't just win her back. You'll win her respect, admiration, and her heart. And in the end, that's what really matters. When she distances herself from you, it's natural to feel confused, anxious, and uncertain about what to do next. Often, the first reaction is to try and figure out what went wrong, to chase after her, then to overthink every little thing you might have done. But that's the wrong way to go about it. You must recognize something crucial here. When a woman pulls back, it's not necessarily a reflection of your worth or the relationship itself. People, including women, need space sometimes. It's a part of life. You must understand that her distance might not be because she doesn't care about you, but rather it might be because she needs time to process, reflect, or focus on herself. And instead of rushing in with all your concerns or emotional pleas, the most powerful thing you can do is give her that space and turn your focus inward. The truth is, space is healthy in relationships. It's not a sign of weakness or failure, it's a sign of self-awareness. When she steps back, it doesn't mean the relationship is over, and it doesn't mean she's lost feelings for you. It just means she needs a moment. Relationships need room to breathe. You can't keep suffocating the connection with constant neediness and pressure. Instead, when she distances herself, the most important thing you can do is respect her need for space. But how do you do that in a way that doesn't make you seem cold or uninterested? How do you handle that gap without making it worse? You focus on yourself. It may sound counterintuitive at first, but focusing on your own life, your own happiness, and your own well-being is exactly what you need to do. When she takes a step back, it's not the time to go into a spiral of insecurity or obsession. It's the time to reestablish your personal growth. And by focusing on yourself, you show her that you don't need her to feel complete. You show her that you're independent, strong, and emotionally stable. Think about it. We all know how attractive confidence is. And one of the best ways to build and showcase that confidence is by thriving in your own life, regardless of what's happening in your relationship. If you start picking up the pieces of your own life, whether that's through work, fitness, hobbies, friendships, or any other personal growth, she will start to see you in a different light. She will notice that you're someone who doesn't crumble when things aren't perfect. You're someone who can handle challenges, and that's incredibly attractive. This isn't just about impressing her, it's about creating the best version of yourself. When you invest in yourself, when you take care of your mental, emotional, and physical well-being, you're signaling something powerful. You're signaling that you have your own life and identity outside of her. And when a woman sees that you're not reliant on her for your happiness, it sparks a different type of respect. She'll look at you and think, wow, he's not just living for me or anyone else. He's living for himself. And that's the foundation of a truly strong, healthy, and lasting relationship. Two individuals who are whole on their own, but who come together to build something even better. Another point to understand is that when you give her space, you're actually helping her see the value of the connection again. Too often in relationships, we become overly focused on one another, and that can create tension. When you give each other room to miss each other, the bond becomes stronger. Absence can make the heart grow fonder, but it only works when you aren't constantly obsessing over why she's pulling away. So, how do you give her space without coming off as cold or uninterested? It's simple, by showing her that you're comfortable in your own skin. Be the man who is secure in himself. Be the man who doesn't need validation from anyone. If she knows you're taking care of yourself and living your own life, she'll naturally gravitate toward you again, because people are drawn to those who are self-sufficient and emotionally strong. At the same time, when you give her space, don't disappear completely. Be there when she reaches out, but don't initiate every conversation or every meeting. Let her make that move, and when she does, keep the conversation light, positive, and focused on growth. It's important to show her that you're there for her, but also to make sure that she knows you're not afraid to let her do her own thing. This creates a sense of balance in the relationship that helps it thrive, even when there's a bit of distance. Finally, don't forget that giving space doesn't mean total detachment. It's about finding the right balance. Show that you care, but do it in a way that lets her know you respect her need for independence. In turn, she will likely respect you more for it. The key to handling distance is this: by focusing on yourself, you create a dynamic where both individuals feel free to grow independently, and that ultimately strengthens the bond between you. When you stop chasing her and start living your own life, it lets her see how valuable you really are. And that's how you create a lasting connection based on mutual respect, understanding, and growth. When a woman distances herself from you, it can feel like a blow to your confidence, leaving you uncertain about what to do. It's easy to get caught up in the emotions and rush to fix the situation. But here's the important truth. The worst thing you can do in that moment is chase after her. Instead of trying to win her over with words, gestures, or explanations, you need to focus on something much more powerful, giving her the space she needs while continuing to work on improving yourself. Understand that relationships are a dynamic of two individuals coming together with their own lives, goals, and dreams. While love and connection are essential, the space each person needs is just as crucial. This is not a sign that the relationship is failing, but rather a natural part of it. When you give her space, it shows that you respect her independence and that you trust in the strength of your bond. At the same time, it allows both of you the opportunity to miss each other, think things through, and come back together with more appreciation for one another. During this time of space, it's vital that you don't turn inward with insecurities. Instead, focus on what you can control, your growth, your happiness, and your purpose. The biggest mistake people make when they feel distant from someone is to fall into the trap of self-doubt. You start questioning everything you did, everything you said, and whether or not you're good enough. This cycle of overthinking can destroy your peace of mind and, ironically, make you less appealing to her. The truth is, no one is attracted to insecurity. Confidence comes from knowing who you are, and when she sees you thriving in your own life, she will be more likely to come back and engage with you. While she takes a step back, it's time for you to step forward in your own life. Focus on your career, your health, your hobbies, your friends, and your personal development. When you're working on becoming a better version of yourself, you will naturally start attracting not just her, but others who recognize your growth and resilience. There's a magnetic quality to someone who is comfortable in their own skin, who is constantly growing, and who doesn't need constant validation from others. This is where the power of self-improvement comes into play. As you focus on your personal goals and continue to build your confidence, you signal to her that you are an individual, not someone who depends on her for happiness. You show her that your life is already full and rich, and she's a welcome addition to that. This doesn't mean you have to change who you are, but it does mean that you need to keep growing. Whether that's taking up a new hobby, improving your skills at work, then developing your emotional intelligence, growth is what makes you more attractive. Another thing to remember is that women are drawn to strength and independence. When she sees that you're not dependent on her for your well-being or happiness, she'll gain a deeper respect for you. It's not about being cold or distant, it's about being emotionally stable. Relationships thrive when both people bring their best selves to the table, and sometimes space is required to allow both individuals to focus on what they need to thrive. The key is to understand that this time of distance doesn't mean the relationship is ending. It's just a moment for both of you to reflect and grow. However, while it's important to give her space, it's also essential to stay present when she reaches out. When she contacts you, then don't play games or act aloof. Be there for her in a positive way, but don't rush to overcompensate or make her feel like she's the center of your world. Remember, she's been given space to think about what she wants, and now it's time for you to show that you have your own life as well. This isn't about playing hard to get, it's about maintaining your own boundaries while being open to connection. At the same time, stay aware of the difference between space and complete detachment. Then the governor room doesn't mean ghosting her or pretending like you don't care. It's about respecting her need for independence while also staying engaged in a healthy, respectful way. When you respect her space, you give her the opportunity to come back to you when she's ready. But in the meantime, you must show her that your life doesn't revolve around her. In the end, when you focus on yourself and respect her space, you create a situation where both of you have the freedom to grow and develop. You become more confident and self-sufficient, and she gains the clarity she needs. This distance may lead to a stronger bond, a better understanding of each other, and an opportunity for your relationship to flourish in a healthier, more balanced way. When a woman distances herself from you, it's crucial to understand that it isn't always a reflection of who you are or the state of the relationship, but often a sign that she needs space to think, reassess, or focus on herself. The key to navigating this period is not to react impulsively, but to respond with maturity, patience, and an unwavering commitment to your own personal growth. Rather than panic or feel rejected, use this time wisely. The most powerful thing you can do is to focus on your own development emotionally, mentally, and physically. When you continue to improve yourself, you don't just make yourself more attractive to her, but you also strengthen your own self-worth, ensuring that regardless of the outcome, you're better off than you were before. This time apart allows both individuals to regain perspective. In relationships, it's easy to become so enmeshed with one another that you lose sight of your own identities. Space provides an opportunity for both partners to reconnect with themselves, pursue their passions, and reaffirm their values. It's not about abandoning the relationship, but about fortifying it by maintaining strong individuality within the partnership. People can sometimes make the mistake of letting a relationship consume them, putting all their focus and energy into the other person to the point where they neglect their own growth and happiness. When you choose to focus on self-improvement during this time, you show that you are capable of standing on your own 2 feet, regardless of what happens between you and her. This confidence will eventually shine through when you reconnect. Rather than showing desperation or clinging to her emotionally, you will present yourself as someone who values himself. And this is an incredibly attractive quality. The greatest gift you can give both yourself and her is the ability to stay grounded in your own identity while still being able to share a deep connection. Don't just focus on one area of your life. Think holistically. Work on your physical health, mental well-being, career aspirations, and personal growth. Engage in activities that enrich your life and make you a more well-rounded person. Hit the gym, read books that challenge your thinking, or develop new skills. As you invest in yourself, you will build a stronger sense of confidence and purpose, and this will not only make you more attractive to her, but also to others around you. People are naturally drawn to those who are continuously improving themselves because they have an energy about them that is magnetic. It's not about being perfect. It's about being on the journey of growth. Another important aspect of this time of space is emotional maturity. It's easy to let insecurities creep in, to overthink every conversation or interaction you've had, and to wonder if something you did is the reason she's distancing herself. But when you give in to these doubts, you only weaken your own self-assurance. Instead, embrace emotional resilience and use this period to work on being emotionally independent. Your happiness and well-being should not hinge on anyone's approval or attention. It's essential to become comfortable with the idea that you are enough on your own, regardless of her actions. While you focus on improving yourself, remember that a key part of emotional growth is understanding the balance between independence and connection. It's vital that when the time comes for her to return to you or for the relationship to move forward, you don't forget the importance of emotional support and communication. Self-improvement doesn't mean shutting yourself off from vulnerability or intimacy. It means creating a foundation where both of you can bring your best selves to the table. Respect her need for space by not bombarding her with calls, texts, or excessive attempts to explain yourself. Let her process things at her own pace, Pursuing her relentlessly can often push her further away, creating more tension rather than fostering understanding. When you show respect for her space, you send a message that you trust her, you trust the relationship, and you trust yourself. You aren't desperate for validation, and you are not afraid of being alone. You're secure in the fact that whether she comes back or not, you are still on your path to becoming a better version of yourself. During this time, continue to be patient with the process. Relationships aren't always linear, and they require time and growth. Don't rush the situation or try to force an outcome. Instead, lean into the patience that personal growth requires. The longer you focus on yourself and trust the natural course of events, the stronger your emotional stability will become. And when the time comes for both of you to reconnect, you'll do so as two individuals who have each taken time to grow independently. This not only strengthens the bond between you, but also makes for a healthier, more balanced relationship. The space between you and her isn't the end, it's simply a new chapter. It gives both of you a chance to reflect, recalibrate, and build a stronger foundation for the future. When you focus on bettering yourself, you aren't just surviving the distance, you're thriving through it. Your self-worth no longer hinges on her presence or approval. Instead, it comes from the belief in yourself and your ability to grow, heal, and continue forward regardless of the circumstances. This confidence will radiate and eventually bring you both closer, whether that's through reconnection or simply having the courage to let go, if that's what is needed. When a woman distances herself from you, it's essential to understand that her decision is not necessarily a reflection of your worth. People go through personal journeys, and then there may be reasons unrelated to you that are causing her to pull away. Sometimes people need space to evaluate their emotions, reflect on their lives, or process experiences that have nothing to do with you. The first thing to remember is not to take it personally. Her distance isn't always about you. It could be about something else that she's navigating internally. Rather than rushing to conclusions or letting the uncertainty take over, it's important to give her the time she needs while simultaneously taking care of your own emotional health. People can often feel compelled to react impulsively when someone pulls away, but in doing so, they risk intensifying the situation. It's essential to practice patience and understand that everyone deals with their feelings in their own time. Sometimes, when a person feels overwhelmed, they withdraw to gain clarity or to manage their emotional energy. Pressuring her or becoming defensive may lead to further emotional withdrawal. During this time of space, your response should be one of calm and understanding. Instead of panicking or trying to fix the situation, acknowledge that sometimes space allows both partners to better assess the relationship. It gives you both the opportunity to reflect on what you truly want from the relationship, what you need, and whether the connection is aligned with your individual goals. By respecting her need for distance, you show emotional maturity and an understanding that relationships are built on respect for each other's space and individuality. Instead of fixating on the distance, this is the perfect time to focus on your own growth. Use the opportunity to engage in personal development, whether that's improving your mental health, exploring new hobbies, working on your career, or simply reconnecting with things that bring you joy. When you invest in your personal well-being, you become more confident and secure, which ultimately strengthens your ability to handle any situation in your relationship. When you grow as an individual, you not only become more attractive, but also more emotionally available to offer the best version of yourself when the time comes for reconnection. Additionally, maintaining your social connections during this period is essential. Don't isolate yourself emotionally, as this could lead to feelings of loneliness or anxiety. Spend time with your friends, family, or support network, and continue engaging in activities that make you happy. Emotional support from those around you can help keep your perspective healthy and grounded. It's important to remind yourself that your value doesn't depend on anyone else's presence or attention, including hers. You are a complete person in your own right, and your worth is not determined by someone else's actions. During this time, it's also important to practice empathy. While it may be difficult, try to understand what she might be going through. Perhaps she's dealing with personal issues or stress that she hasn't shared with you yet. People often retreat when they're overwhelmed, and they may not have the tools to express their emotions effectively. Giving her the space she needs shows that you respect her as an individual and that you are capable of understanding her needs, even if she's not ready to talk about them yet. This doesn't mean you have to ignore your own feelings, but it does mean that you give her room to process whatever she's experiencing without feeling pressured to explain herself. Another key point to remember is to maintain boundaries. Space doesn't mean that you should be constantly checking in on her or trying to control the situation. It means allowing her the freedom to come to you when she's ready. Over texting, calling repeatedly, then the governor or asking her what's wrong may add pressure rather than help her feel comfortable enough to come back. Instead, let her initiate communication when she feels ready, and when you do speak, approach the conversation with patience, respect, and openness. This shows her that you trust her to express herself when the time is right. Furthermore, don't ignore your own emotional needs during this time. While it's important to respect her space, you also need to ensure that you're not losing yourself in the process. If you feel uncertain or hurt, it's okay to acknowledge those feelings. However, don't let them fester or become destructive. Talk to a trusted friend, engage in a hobby, or channel your emotions into something positive. Then the government, maintaining your own emotional health, helps you deal with the distance in a balanced way, which in turn strengthens your emotional connection when you both reconnect. Ultimately, it's about balancing patience with action. Use this time wisely to invest in yourself and keep your life moving forward. Work on your personal goals, stay healthy. Then the government, they want for you to remember that a healthy relationship is built on both individuals being secure in their own lives. It's not about forcing a connection, but about letting it evolve naturally. The most important thing is to give her the space she needs while maintaining your own sense of self-worth and emotional well-being. By doing this, you will have a clearer understanding of what you both need and want from the relationship when the time comes to talk and move forward together. When she distances herself from you, it's easy to feel like everything is slipping away. Then the government wonder if you did something wrong or if she's lost interest. But it's important to remember that her actions may not always be a reflection of your worth or the relationship as a whole. People often need space for many reasons that have nothing to do with you personally. It could be a way for her to work through her thoughts or emotions, or it could be a sign that she's going through something in her life that requires her to pull back for a while. It's easy to jump to conclusions when you're in the middle of uncertainty, but one of the most crucial things you can do in these moments is to remain calm, collected, and avoid rushing to any drastic conclusions. The first thing you need to understand is that everyone needs space from time to time. It's a natural part of relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic. Relationships often require periods of distance, even if that distance isn't permanent. When someone needs space, it's not necessarily because they don't care about you anymore. It's because they might need to reset, reflect, or work through things in their own life. Rather than interpreting her distance as rejection, try to see it as an opportunity for both of you to grow individually. This can lead to a more balanced and healthier relationship down the road. In these situations, reacting with frustration, desperation, or anger will only drive a deeper wedge between you. Instead, it's essential to approach the situation with patience. The space she's taking could be an opportunity for you to gain perspective on the relationship as well. When we're in the midst of a connection, emotions can cloud our judgment. Time apart allows both people to reassess their desires, needs, and priorities, leading to greater clarity. It might give you a chance to reflect on your own emotions, figure out what you truly want from the relationship, and recognize if you're fully aligned with those goals. This self-reflection is necessary for creating a relationship built on mutual understanding. While she takes the space she needs, you should focus on your own life. Don't put your life on hold while waiting for her to come back to you. It's crucial that you continue to engage in your passions, hobbies, friendships, and personal goals. This doesn't mean you ignore the relationship, but it does mean you prioritize your well-being and growth. When you invest in yourself, it makes you more confident, fulfilled, and whole. You'll be in a stronger emotional position when you eventually reconnect. Moreover, by continuing to work on yourself, you show that you're not dependent on her for your happiness. This creates a healthy dynamic where both individuals are content and fulfilled on their own, which ultimately strengthens the relationship. When someone pulls away, they might also be dealing with personal struggles or pressures that have nothing to do with you. She may feel overwhelmed with work, personal issues, or emotional challenges, and distancing herself could be her way of trying to manage all of that. Understanding that she may need time to process these issues can allow you to approach the situation with more empathy. Give her the space to work through whatever she's dealing with, but also keep in mind that she might not yet be ready to share all of it with you. Then don't take it personally if she doesn't open up immediately. Instead, trust that with time, she may feel more comfortable sharing what's on her mind. In the meantime, it's important not to pressure her. Constant messages, calls, or trying to force communication can make her feel more trapped or overwhelmed. Instead, give her the opportunity to come to you when she feels ready. If you maintain your patience and respect her boundaries, it shows that you value her as an individual and understand the need for her to process things in her own way. You're demonstrating trust in her and in the strength of your connection. This shows emotional maturity and respect, which will likely foster a stronger bond between you in the long run. Another key aspect during this time of distance is to keep your perspective. Don't let your mind run wild with negative thoughts or assumptions about her intentions. It's easy to get lost in what ifs, but that only adds unnecessary stress and anxiety. Instead, trust that she will reach out when the time is right. This is where the idea of focusing on your own personal growth comes in. By staying busy with your own life, you avoid obsessing over the space between you. You'll find that as you focus on your own happiness and well-being, the anxiety about her distancing will start to fade. If and when she does reach out, Be ready to have an open and honest conversation. This doesn't mean demanding an explanation for her actions, but rather listening to her feelings with empathy. When someone pulls away, it's often because they need to gather their thoughts or because they don't feel fully equipped to communicate at that moment. Giving her the space she needs will likely lead to a more productive and understanding conversation when you finally reconnect. Rather than pushing for answers immediately, take the time to listen and understand what she's been going through. Lastly, it's essential to remember that distance doesn't always mean the end. Sometimes it's just a pause, a natural break that can provide clarity and allow both people to grow individually. By giving her the space she needs and focusing on your own well-being, you're building a foundation of trust and respect. When the time comes to reconnect, you'll both be in a stronger position, ready to navigate the relationship with more clarity and understanding. The key is not to rush the process, but to use this time as an opportunity to strengthen both your relationship with her and your connection to yourself.